It's showtime.
Okay guys, welcome back to the SCPL. My name is Kix, and joining me just below is Rapid. And we're here with Red versus Net Wars. We just saw game 1 between Koga and RBG, and we're about to move into our second game, which should be quite exciting.
That is absolutely the case, Kicks. It's good to be back for our first semi-final day. A very important day for both of these teams as we, close off round 2. So it is very significant that Red has been undefeated this season. It's not that they've never lost games, it's that they've never lost series. And so they will need to come back after that early game 1 loss.
Yep, and they are sending out one of their current strong players. I mean, all of Red are pretty strong, and obviously I'm a little bit biased towards this next player just because, well, you'll find out. So let's head on over to the overlay, and let's introduce who our next two players are gonna be. Okay, so I'm biased because it is my fellow British player. It's gonna be Cadenzie, playing from Korea. She, of course, hasn't played too many games in the SCPL. She's too busy winning the LASL. But still, she was here for semi-final A for Red, and she's been doing a pretty good job so far.
That is true. She is undefeated currently, having won all of her games for Red so far this season. But the bigger issue at hand here is that a game of StarCraft is really a 4-player game. You've got the 2 players playing off against each other, but then each player is also fighting against not only the game itself, because it is just kind of hard to get stuff to work sometimes, but then they're also playing against the geographical significance of just how far away Poland is from Korea. So sometimes that makes for somewhat substandard playing conditions, and it appears as if this is kind of the case for this matchup here too. So that definitely changes what kind of strategies you're able to go to. A lot of people really talk about how good Cadenzie's micro is, and mutalist control specifically off of things like 2-hatch muta and other strategies, and that's just pretty difficult to do on turn rate 8.
It is, but of course, Cadenzie is used to the lag. She used to play with a lot of Koreans when she was in Scotland, and also used to play with people in
How
Europe
the tables have
when she was in
turned.
Scotland. So yeah, but Yeti, her opponent, a very strong player, the highest ranked player in the STPL overall, has done a great job so far for his team. He was pretty much like the ace player for them in round 1. And he was back in round 2. He's undefeated himself, so is Cadenzie, but Yeti's record obviously a little bit better, played more games. But he's currently 5-0. He did have a questionable showing in the round 3 show match he played in last week. But this is the round 2 playoffs here, and he is going to look to extend his lead in the overall ranking. So let's have a look at the map they are going to be playing on. So as you can see, it's going to be Hitchhiker. Now Hitchhiker, a 2-player map from 2006 and 2007. It did spawn from the Shinhan Bank on GameNet Star League. It's been pretty balanced so far in terms of STPL stats, and it's been a pretty exciting map to watch as well. We've seen some really cool strategies here, and should be pretty fun, shouldn't it?
Yeah, that is true. It is definitely a very dynamic map, especially once you start breaking down either those stacked temples or the power generators that block off your starting couple of bases from the rest of the map. There is kind of that Blue Storm-esque aspect of it where you can just walk down the middle, but it's a pretty narrow cavern and there's high ground on both sides. So usually that's can be kind of dangerous and really hard to do if you are trying to ferry dragoons down there or something like that. So it is a very interesting map, and it is a map that is not out here in Korea for the most part. So you
Yeah.
mentioned like Cadenzie has been playing in LASL and some team leagues, and none of those leagues include Hitchhiker. So she has not played every game for her team. And I don't believe she has played on this map before in STPL, so that might be an advantage that Yeti has.
Yeah, Yeti's certainly. As a matter of fact, thinking back, I don't even know if Yeti's played on this map, but either way, should be kind of cool. Let's see how they both do as we head into this PvZ on Hitchhiker. It's Cadenzie for Red, fighting against Yeti for Net Wars. Let's get started. And in the top left-hand side of your screen, in the 10 o'clock position, we do have the green Protoss fighting for Net Wars. It is Yeti.
That's right, and in the bottom right-hand corner, fighting for Team Red, it is Cadenzie, which is how Koreans spell her name because of the E on the end. Gets me every time, Kicks. So I did mention earlier that this will be played on pretty low turn rate given the players' distance from each other. So we'll see if that is all anjinmat, or in I guess Japanese that would be daijobu. I don't know exactly what kind of effect that is going to have on the game, but we'll see if that does kind of change maybe our players starting build orders or any of the strategies that they go for.
Yeah, I mean, a big thing here, we don't see Yeti trying to take that natural expansion very quickly.
Yeah.
You can wall off this, like, choke outside where you can see the Overlord going over, but obviously it's very far away from your main. The natural, a little bit more open, but of course if you do secure your ramp, you do secure the top side of the map, at least until the late game when the temples start getting taken down.
Yeah, exactly. A lot like, what is it? Is it Plasma, or I forget what's that other map that we have in this map pool?
In this one?
It's not Transistor.
Triathlon, maybe.
Triathlon, yeah. It can be kind of like that in that the map does change drastically over time, but not to digress. There we go. Haha. You're right. Controlling that high ground can be a big advantage early on until those temples start going down. But let's keep an eye on the build orders here. Young Kicks, I believe that was a 9 pool that we had Cadenzie go for.
Yep. Now Cadenzie is pretty well known for her love of the 973. So whether or not we see that in this game is to be decided, but we see Yeti going for a 1-base build here, going for his gas fairly quickly. Gonna see that Cybernex core coming in fairly soon as well, I would imagine, as he has decided to completely skip on a Nexus and a Forge as well.
That is true, and if there is any race that is capable of playing at high latency, it would be Protoss, especially when you're 1-basing it. All you got to do is hit your pylon timings, which are not super difficult to do, and if you practiced as much as, of course, Yeti has, this can be very, very potent. So I'm excited to see how effective this will be, because it just takes the Overlord quite a ways to make it across the map, Kicks.
It does, and I mean, the Overlord is just about going to make it there, but obviously you don't get the full scout. You don't know if they've taken the mineral only, which we do see Cadenzie doing, but it's actually, I think, a little bit far away from the minerals. I think it's 1 hex too high.
Wait, what, the hatch?
Yeah, the hatchery at the
is that misplaced?
The third base.
Yeah. It looks misplaced to me, but I'm a terrible judge of that.
Yeah.
Especially since I myself have... Yeah, I've never played on this map either, so I have no idea what correct positioning looks like. I think it's okay, but if that is, maybe a little bit of a misplacement. I mean, to give you guys an idea about how bad it is to misplace your starting building, it's worth it to kill the building and rebuild it. That's how inefficient it is to mine from a misplaced, I guess command center or something.
Yeah, we saw Yeti going for a little bit of aggression with the Zealots. Does manage to get one behind the minerals. The other one running around quite valiantly. Does not want to go down. The first... Oh, nice pullback on that Zergling. Gonna keep it alive.
Okay, now, Kix, I would like to direct your attention to the most iconic part of watching any Cadenzie game, and that is you go to the natural expansion, and you'll notice that there's a drone. Now, that drone is a spy, because it looks like he's there to mine minerals, but instead, if you want to zoom really far in there, you'll notice that it is only pretending to mine minerals. It is, in fact, relaying those details. Oh, there we go. All right. He defected back to the Zerg side.
I just noticed you can see the drone's eyes. Wow, I've never seen
yeah.
that before.
As part of the wonderful beauty that is StarCraft Remastered, Kix. And so is watching Zerglings run across the map towards a Protoss base in HD.
Yep, and they're going to get there fairly soon. Just getting onto the ramp now. Now, 2 Zealots should be enough to wall off this ramp. Going to be very hard for Cadenzie to be efficient to get up there. But I mean, we've got the Hydralisk then already on the way, but it's not going to be a 3-hatch Hydra build. Cadenzie is going into a lair.
Yeah.
I mean, could we see a standard game from Cadenzie here?
I would imagine not. You know, the most iconic thing that I can expect is to tech up and then for no reason build nothing but Zerglings, run them all into a choke point, and then tap out afterwards. Now, I'm being a little bit facetious just because I've seen that happen a couple of very unfortunate times, but in all reality, we absolutely could see something a little bit more high-tech here. Now, the big thing to look for is the number of drones at the third base. You were the one talking about 973 being popular, but crucially enough, there's only 2 drones at the third base, and so notably that would prevent it, of course, from being 973, which, in case you're unfamiliar, is the number of drones that you're supposed to have at each base to give you the resources to go for the Hydra all-in at that time.
Yeah,
which
no,
I guess we're not seeing.
There is going to be the Spire as well coming down. One important thing to note is Cadenzie's obviously had a lot of pro gamer training. I know Shine is helping her at the moment for one of the team leagues she's part of. Shine is one of the other players, so he's given her some of his bag of builds, and this could very well be one of those builds.
Yeah, it absolutely could be, Kicks, but this is where we find out how good the build actually is, because we haven't really seen too much early aggression. Obviously, the Zealots coming across the map, kind of any Protoss just probing their opponent as they do it. This is where, oh no! Holy cow, that Reaver shot's incredible, and this could really seesaw things back in Yeti's favor. I mean, the Sunken Colony is going to go down before it finishes morphing. 2 more Hydras died of that Reaver, and I think this Reaver might just be MVP, Kicks. The Scarabs are just too good.
You know, interestingly, because Cadenzie
had
oh, that's a big deal.
Oh, man, and yeah, that one got him, in the words of Turk from the Disney Tarzan. That is just such a big hit. Wow. So all of a sudden this Hydra build is a build with no Hydras. The Hydra pops out and dies, and maybe they can spawn from other locations and kind of surround this, but I mean, this is just so much damage.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage losing the third base, but the important thing to note is Cadenzie's actually still on 2 bases. Yeti's still on 1. So as long as
she has high ground.
Oh, and she's got Scourge going for the shuttle. The shuttle's down. The Reaver is going to have to slowly slither around now. And the Reaver's really going to lose his utility.
Yeah, now this is where it starts to get a little bit dangerous. The Spire is here, but it's going to go down. And that means the only mutants that will come out are the ones in production. And that's a 0, Kick. Yeah, there are none. And now the Reaver is here. It took a long time to get here, but with reinforcements streaming in, I think Yeti might have this.
Yeah, good game. Yeti overpowers Cadenzie with this 1-base play there, maybe learning a little bit from his teammate Bonith, who was quite well known when he was playing more actively for his 1-base PvZ styles on maps like Python, but really well played by Yeti there. I can't fault that at all. He didn't make it. Maybe you could say that his early 2 Zealots didn't do as much as they maybe could have, but still, that was an insane game by him.
Yeah, very well played. And just to clarify, I hope that neither Kix nor I were pretty biased. Obviously, we're both a little bit leaning one way, more one way than the other. And I did kind of meme a little bit hard, pointing out things like the drone or the potential all-in. But it should be noted that A, this is an unfamiliar map. B, there's very low or very high latency going on for this game, and C, it is a difficult style to play, the 3-base versus 1-base that you saw there. So I would say the early defense looked pretty good there by Cadenzie, but in the end, just that Reaver timing, man, just so difficult to deal with, even if they were even if there were perfect conditions.
Yeah, now that was obviously a very, I'd say, one-sided game, but certainly not really everything to base it off of. Cadenzie, if she plays again in the SCPL, is a very strong opponent. Yeti, though, once again proving why he's the top of the leaderboard at the moment, getting yet another win. And that's going to take us into our 3rd game of today. So let's head on over to the intro, and we'll be back.